Russia launched its hypersonic missile Oreshnik for the first time on November the 21st to attack the Dnieper, allegedly in response to Ukrainian strikes on a Russian military facility in Bryansk with American ATACMS missiles. After that, the Russian leader threatened to attack military industrial facilities or decision-making centers, including in Kiev, and compared the possible strike itself in force to a nuclear strike. According to the Telegraph, this Oreshnik is unique because it is in fact an intercontinental ballistic missile disguised as a medium-range ballistic missile. ICBMs are designed for nuclear war, and the Oreshnik is based on the RS-26 Rubezh intercontinental ballistic missile. Its sensors, electronics, and data collection systems are similar. Flying at hypersonic speeds of Mach 11, this missile can carry both conventional and nuclear payloads. The Oreshnik has a range of 500 to 5,000 kilometers, allowing it to hit most of Europe and the west coast of the United States. It takes 12 to 20 minutes to hit targets in Europe, including Britain. In other words, the Oreshnik can do the job of a nuclear intercontinental ballistic missile, but not create a nuclear mushroom cloud. Hypersonic missiles are almost impossible to defend against because they fly many times faster than the speed of sound, and unlike ballistic missiles and slower cruise missiles, are highly maneuverable. Tracking this type of missile is very problematic, since they are designed to evade missile defense interceptors by constantly changing their flight direction. The publication writes, "Detecting, characterizing and tracking a missile of this type is a prerequisite for shooting it down and is a very complex task." The new missile attack on the Dnieper is Putin's attempt to force the US and NATO to stop arming Ukraine without provoking a disproportionate escalation. To prevent a response to what could be defined as a nuclear strike, Moscow notified Washington of the attack in advance. However, in the event of a war between Russia and NATO, the newspaper writes, Putin would almost certainly not have issued such an alert. Russia's hypersonic missile arsenal currently includes the Kinzhal and Zircon. As of December the 23rd, the avant-garde hypersonic glide vehicle was deployed, which can carry a nuclear warhead. After detaching from an ICBM, the HGV uses its own propulsion system to fly toward its target at hypersonic speed, making sharp, horizontal and vertical evasive maneuvers. As noted, the UK does not yet have an equivalent of the Oreshnik, although the country has a program aimed at developing future hypersonic concepts and technologies. The first domestically produced hypersonic cruise missile is not expected before 2030. The US is also lagging behind Russia and China in this area. The US military successfully tested a long-range hypersonic weapon known as the Dark Eagle in June after numerous delays. However, the US hypersonic missile deployment timeline is set for 2027 to 2029. Russian hypersonic missiles, including the Oreshnik, pose a serious threat to the UK and its armed forces because the country's missile defense sensors are very limited. The Royal Air Force does operate an early warning radar at Flyingdale that can detect objects 3,000 miles away in space, but this is operated by British personnel on behalf of the United States. The UK does not have its own dedicated ballistic missile interceptor, the Telegraph writes.
Syrian rebel forces have taken full control of northern Homs, Syrian state television reported. Syrian state television reported that opposition forces are 5 kilometers away from Homs. It should be noted that the Syrian army issued a statement yesterday announcing that they had lost control of the city of Hama. The leader of the Islamist militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, Abu Muhammad al-Jalani, told residents of Homs, "Your time has come." He said the goal is to overthrow Assad's rule. When we talk about objectives, the goal of the revolution remains the overthrow of this regime, Jalani told CNN in an interview. It is our right to use all available means to achieve that goal. Despite airstrikes targeting Al Rastan Bridge overnight, fresh footage from social media channels appears to show convoys of rebel forces driving through the town the very next morning. The National has geolocated several videos to Rastan and Talbasay. Homs city is awaiting the arrival of our forces. Rebel spokesman Hassan Abdulghani said. The era of tyranny will be soon over. Recall, Syrian rebels launched a surprise offensive against the government last week and have so far captured 2 major cities. They have been advancing south, and Homs is the next city on the road from Aleppo to Damascus. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, a UK-based monitoring group, is reporting that fighter jets have targeted a bridge on a road linking Homs and Hama to try to slow the rebels' advance. After the Syrian military lost control of Hama following days of fighting, it is not clear whether it will be able to defend Homs. It is a strategic city linking the capital to the Alawite heartland on the Mediterranean coast, Assad's political stronghold and key to his grip on power.
اللهم لك الحمد. تلبيس حمص دمشق طلعتونا بالباصات يا خنازير ورجعنا لكم بالدبابات. طلعتونا يا خنازير بالباصات ورجعنا لكم بالثقيل. تلمسوا رؤوسكم، احفاد خالد سوف تدوسكم. تلبيس صديق.
The Syrian army has withdrawn from the central city of Hama after insurgents broke through its defenses, the military said Thursday, in another setback for President Bashar Assad. The announcement came hours after opposition fighters said they had entered the city and were marching toward the center. In a video released on December 5, Abu Muhammad al-Golani, leader of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, said, the revolutionaries began entering the city of Hama to desanitize up the wound that has been left in Syria for 40 years. On Thursday morning, Syrian insurgents said they entered Hama after 3 days of intense clashes with government forces on its outskirts, part of an ongoing offensive. The Syrian army said it redeployed from Hama and took positions outside the city to protect the lives of civilians. The capture of Hama, Syria's 4th largest city, is another blow for Assad days after insurgents captured much of the northern city of Aleppo, the country's largest city. Hama is one of the few cities that remained under full government control during Syria's conflict, which broke out in March 2011 following a popular uprising. Its capture would be a major setback for President Bashar Assad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أبشركم إخواني أن إخوانكم المجاهدون الثوار قد بدأوا بالدخول إلى مدينة حماة لتطهير ذاك الجرح الذي استمر في سوريا لمدة 40 عاما. أسأل الله عز وجل أن يكون فتحا لا ثأر فيه، بل فتحا كله رحمة ومودة، والحمد لله رب العالمين.